Bobby Shoemaker, Andrew Calvano, Tournament Talk on the Tournament Edge for Monday, December 26th at Santa Anita Race 9, Andrew. It's the last leg of the All-Stakes Pick 4. It's the Grade 2 Mathis Bros Stakes going 1 mile on the turf for 3-year-olds, a field of 11. And Conquest Enforcer is your 7-2 morning line favorite, Andrew. It's Phil D'Amato. It's Flavian Pratt. I don't see it. I guess he's the favorite based on the connections, which I understand. But, Andrew, this horse is going to have to beat me. I think there's a lot of different ways you could go in here, and the 4 is not one of them, in my opinion.
Without a doubt. And I'm very weary of shippers on the Santa Anita turf course. I think it's a turf course that you really have to be, well versed with. And I think you definitely need to have the experience in order to win a race, especially one of this caliber. So the fact that we have a shipper here trying it for the first time, just taking the money right away, a little bit worries me. Now, I don't see any workouts over the turf course, but obviously it's Phil D'Amato and it's Flavian Pratt. You know that this is the price you're going to get regardless of really what horse it is. But a big play against for me whatsoever. Now, obviously this horse has experience at the mile distance, but I really think that this horse is better off sprinting, in my opinion. So definitely a play against for me at a short price. I thought this was a race where, in my opinion, you could probably get a price. If I'm looking at this from a pick 4 perspective, I might hit the all button and try to close it in this race here. But the 4 just looks so vulnerable to me, especially again and getting back to a mile distance.
Yeah, and Andrew, I don't know what you thought from a pace standpoint, but there looks to be a lot of speed in here, and obviously the 4 needs the lead, and he's going to just have a ton of company. So let's move on from the 4. Give us some other horses in here that you thought were major players. I'll kind of set it up for you. Moonlight Drive, the 3 horse at 6-1 with Baffert and Bejarano. Obviously, from a connection standpoint, certainly looks enticing. Blackout from France, the 9 horse with Mark Casse, Julien Leparoux, another one of these horses they saw fit to ship. So your thoughts on those 2 horses, just from a connection standpoint, that stood out to me, and any other horses in here other than your top pick that you think have a shot in here?
Yeah, the 2 you mentioned, Blackjack Cat and Moonlight Short Rock. I definitely think those one of those horses, but more specifically Blackjack Cat, I think is the deserving favorite in this race. Though has not won as of late. I think this one has just been facing much tougher company, especially here on the circuit. I think that one's interesting at 4-1. Moonlight Drive as well, but I think Moonlight Drive maybe up against it from a page perspective today. Horse I took a very long look at, Mittersill for Gallagher on the rail here with Rosario. I think that horse is very intriguing. Should not be left off any tickets, in my opinion. Isotherm's back in here again. I don't think that horse can win a race ever again. I don't really know what happened to that horse, but still a competitive one. You have Frank Conversation, Bob, that's your old friend from a couple weeks back. Yeah. Blackout, another horse, very competitive here. And like I said, Bob, I think I listed half the field without even listing my top pick. So I think that goes to show how wide open this group is. So again, from a pace standpoint, do you see it being as hot as I see it? I think it could really get heated up front. Yes.
What are the horses other than the 4 do you see being on the lead?
So definitely you have Conquest Enforcer right at it. Him and Moonlight Drive definitely have to dictate the pace. This Mittersill horse I mentioned did show early speed in a shorter, in a smaller group of horses last time out. Don't necessarily think that this one needs to be on. I think this one has proven as a closer, but from the inside post in a race like this, may have to have some early go from the gate. Defiantly, though, post all the way outside, I think does his best work. Went on the front end. Wouldn't be surprised with a bug aboard and a low percentage trainer if this one just sent to the front and sees what happened. But definitely what you're going to see here is Conquest Enforcer, Moonlight Drive really dictating this one.
Yeah, I agree, Andrew. I'll go ahead and give you my top pick here, and it's my strongest play of the 4 races that we covered for Monday. And unfortunately, it's not a big price, but it's the 2 horse Blackjack Cat at 4-1 morning line. And basically, it's summed up by this: the cut back to the mile distance, which is really what this horse has wanted to do the entire time. Look at that speed at a mile and an eighth distance, even at a mile and a 16th way back when on July 23rd. And look at the horses that this horse has faced. I mean, Annals of Time, Beach Patrol, Frank Conversation, who had just won 2 starts back on November 24th in the Twilight. This horse gets the mile. I think if this horse has the capability of being able to rate just a tad bit, and maybe the cutback will allow this horse to do that. I get one of the smartest jockeys out there in Mike Smith, who's as hot as you can get and has been for the last year. He's had a stellar 2016. If this horse can rate, I think this horse wins. If he goes to the front and gets caught up in the rest of that mess that we talked about, then something else is going to come from off of it and win this race, maybe even the 9. But at the end of the day, I think the 2 horse can sit second shelf, and when they turn from home, he's going to crush this field. I really like the 2. I'm not excited about the price. I may get an overlay. I'm not really sure what the bettors out there think of the 2 horse, but I think the mile distance is what this horse wants to do, and if those speed figures translate to the mile distance, he's going to be a handful down the lane.
Yeah, no, and tip of the cap to you, Bob, on this selection. As I mentioned, I thought this one could very well be the favorite of this race. So 4-1 is definitely going to be a good price, and I think you'll get it on. Honestly, I think the San Anita guys definitely pay a lot more attention to Flavion Pratt and Phil D'Amato, especially in a race like this. And then you got Bejarano, one of the best turf jockeys in the country, in my opinion. So I definitely think 4-1 is where you'll live. But, even to back you up a little bit, 96, 93, 89 buyer from top to bottom obviously means this one's improving. And that race last time, I really did all the dirty work for a horse like Anos Time and Beach Patrol here. So I think you definitely find some class relief in a spot like this. Going into my top selection, Bob, as we mentioned, I thought this race could really fall apart on the front end, and that's what I'm really going to bank on here. And I thought a horse that could really take advantage of the pace breaking down and closing from the clouds is number 11, Tusk, for Grand Motion, Drayden Van Dyke. Now, this one's last out start, finished behind Frank Conversation, a horse that we obviously have a lot of respect for. Now, that was on the synthetic at Golden Gate back in February. Now, this horse is coming off a very, very long layoff, and I believe that Grand Motion does his very best work with these long layoffs. Let's take a horse like Miss Temple City. A great job off the layoff.
Right.
You're 20% in these types of situations here, plus 180 days for Grand Motion. And synthetic to turf, a movie does often as well. It's at 21%. So I think it's nothing to be worried about here.
Right.
But I think what really is going to make this horse here is the pace. Can it fall apart? Can it not? If all those horses I said are going to go on the inside, can I get a couple extra horses? The 1 and the 10, can they also bug the 3 and the 4? I'm going to need as much pace as I can get to get a horse like this. But this one has shown the ability to be up and close. Look how this one broke his maiden here on November 8th back last fall. So we'll see. But I do believe this one's going to come from about 6 to 8 lengths off it here. I get a big price. Regardless of how good the horse is, I think Grand Motion is an excellent trainer when it comes to spotting his horses, especially on the West Coast here. Now I'm getting 15-1 on the guy at a team that hits at 30% at Santa Anita this year. Those are just numbers I got to take. I'm not too confident in the play, but I do think the pace could really melt down. And if it's going to melt down, then I'll take 15-1 on a guy like Grand Motion with a horse that is improving here.
Look, the race November 29th of last year can win here with the pace that we think we're going to get. And also, you can make a case that January 24th, this horse had no pace to run into on a good turf course, and just lost all chances because there wasn't a pace meltdown. So at the end of the day, I don't think this horse, by any stretch of the imagination, should be 15-1. What do you think you're going to get on this horse when they leave the gate?
Honestly, I kind of think up, being the 10-1, 15-1 range. I don't see an overlay necessarily. I don't think Grand Motion horses could really go off as an overlay. So 10 to 15-1, I'm still fine with 10-1, to be honest with you. But 10 to 15-1 is where I know I'm going to land here. Fair
enough. So give us, as far as another play from an exotic standpoint, obviously you're going to want to put something with this 11 in exactas or trifectas. Who else in here do you give a big shot? Would you roll with my 2, or would you go elsewhere and try to spice up the exotics? Because if you get that 11 home, or even in second, you're looking at a nice payday.
Yeah, and I'm definitely going to use your 2, Blackjack Cat. Like I said, if this one does have the ability to rate, this one is the first one to take a swing at the early speed. And if my horse is either too far or doesn't want to switch leads, like I said, we talk about this often, Bob, closes find trouble. My horse is probably going to have to find some and overcome it. Right. So I think your horse is going to have first run at the speed. So definitely going to include that horse. Mittersill, like I said, on the rail of Patrick Gallagher. That one, and as well as Frank Conversation. I think I'm just going to key those around the trifecta and see what I could do here. Maybe some low risk, high reward trifectas. See what I could do with some keying here. But Frank Conversation, in my opinion, did win the Hollywood Derby. Though lost by 2 lengths. If you watch that replay, if that rail was still open, this one was gone. So I think Frank Conversation is the major play to key around here.
Yeah, certainly needed Frank Conversation that day, my friend, for a lot of money. Nonetheless, I'm on the 2-horse Blackjack Cat at 4-1. Andrew's on the 11 Tusk at a very nice 15-1 morning line. So that's going to do it for Santa Anita Race 9 for Monday, December 26th. It's the Grade 2 Mathis Bros Stakes. That's Andrew Calvado. I'm Bobby Shoemaker. Good luck.
Good luck, guys, and Merry Christmas.